Next, let me introduce the great Professor Paul Zak. He will speak about the experience from his book, Immersion, the Science of the Extraordinary and the Source of Happiness. And it will give you also very inspiring insights to the brain and new technology. Please give Professor Paul Zak a warm hand.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here in this warm room this late afternoon. This is a great title for this conference, Journey to Coexistence. As social creatures, we do not exist well on our own. We thrive when we're around others. So I want to talk about the need for that thriving and then give you some tools that you can use so that you can actually thrive better, not on your own, but in combination with those around you, those who care about you, those who love you. So much more in my recent book, Immersion. And have your phones ready, so in 15 minutes from now you can have a QR code and have a free app that we developed to help you be happier, healthier, and to live longer. So how do we thrive? Right? We thrive when we're happy. When we're happy, we're healthy. And when we're healthy, we live longer. Right? So all those are related. These are not independent of each other. So we're thinking about thriving. We have to think about our embeddedness in social networks. If we don't have that embeddedness, when we're socially withdrawn, that's a very strong indicator that we are not thriving. We're not functioning. We're not mentally healthy or physically healthy. And we're seeing this in many, many places. This is data from the US, but many employees are burnt out at work. They're not thriving. We see the same thing with anxiety disorders, just an explosion of mental health disorders. And the data are not any better when we go from the US to your country, to South Korea. We see this incredibly acutely for young people. So for reasons that are not entirely clear, we see many more mental health disorders in those who are young than those who are middle-aged or older, although a little peak as people get late in life as well. The other thing that is concerning me is that we're running out of babies. If we are embedded as social creatures, we need to be around others, right? We need to get value from the work we do. We need to get value from the leisure activities that we do. And to do that, we have to be around others. This is why conferences like this are so important, right? We have networking. We're talking to people. We're sharing ideas. We're getting to know people. Think how many people you've met here that you just met for the first time. Like, oh, that's a great guy. I'm going to hang out with this person. Or that's a wonderful girl. So as you know, your country has the lowest birth rate in the world. That's a problem for social creatures, right? So I don't have a solution to that problem, but I do think for the people that you know, you've got to sustain and strengthen those relationships. And we see the same kind of indicators in Korea in which individuals are living longer, but not living better. And the suicide rate is off the charts here. Really tells us we have to work harder to be emotionally healthy and to be able to thrive. We see some, in your country, some structural discrimination in which individuals, particularly those who are, the very young, this doesn't apply to, but individuals who are middle-aged and older do not want to ask for help for mental health disorders. If you're not asking for help, you're going to suffer alone and you're not going to thrive. So again, I'm going to say thrive 400 times in the next 15 minutes, but I think that's the key focus. How do we really thrive? When we're not mentally healthy, when we're not emotionally fit, we see other disorders come to play, in particular obesity, metabolic disorders, right? So our physical health and our mental health are not isolated from each other. They're intimately connected. So if we want to live longer and healthier, we've got to have good mental health and good physical health together. And the loneliness epidemic has hit South Korea like it has many developed countries. We're spending more time alone, and people who spend time alone do not function as well because, again, we need others to really be happy. That's a big problem. I'm also worried about the economy, right? People who are lonely on the job are not as productive. They don't get the satisfaction we get from working. So I think hybrid work, remote work is a mixed bag. It's great to work at home in your pajamas, right? What's better than that? Have your dog there, take a walk. On the other hand, if you go into the office, you're talking to people, you're seeing people, you talk about your weekend. Hey, you want to get a beer after work? Yeah, let's do that. Right? Where if you're scheduling Zoom calls all day, yeah, you're getting some social interaction, that's fine. It's not as rich as if I'm in the office doing something with somebody else and have those random collisions. Okay, so like Adam, I've measured brain activity from a bazillion people. We have over 50,000 observations now and growing. I'm a behavioral neuroscientist. I'm not interested in your feelings. I'm not interested in your intentions. I'm interested in what you do. So for many years, we identified what people did and looked for the brain activity that promoted that work or drove that work. So because of this focus on how the brain motivates us to do particular actions, we worked backwards and identified how the brain values social emotional experiences. Right? So again, it's those experiences that help induce neuroplasticity that allow us to be more connected, to be healthier, and to be happier. So once we find that, we can ask a lot of interesting questions. Let me show you real briefly just one experiment we've run, and you can see how we figure this out.
Det siger mig ikke noget. Valentinsdag.
Jeg springer over den. Altså, den er mig fløjtende ligegyldig.
Det er jo lidt bare en amerikansk højtid.
Men kan du huske, hvornår du sidst har gjort noget rart for hende?
Nej, det kan jeg faktisk ikke. Ikke sådan lige på stående fod.
Var det et godt spørgsmål?
I'm very excited about this. This experiment has never been done before. Hi. Come on in. Dr. Zach, we're going to take a little blood from your arm. We'll take 2 blood samples from our subjects, one before and one after. We'll measure the change in oxytocin to see if people actually became happier. Oxytocin is sometimes called the love molecule. Oxytocin makes us happier, increases erections, and produces more powerful orgasms. This is really powerful stuff.
Jeg skulle fortælle dig, hvorfor jeg elsker dig. Så det må jeg jo gøre.
Jeg elsker dig, fordi du er så speciel. Du bare er den, du er. Du tænker på andre mennesker end dig selv.
Dine empatiske evner overstiger alt andet, jeg nogensinde har set.
Jeg har taget mig i den arme, siden vi mødtes.
Du gør mig i godt humør. Du er dejlig. Du er min makker, du er min partner.
The most remarkable thing is the more we give, the more oxytocin we produce.
Det påvirker mig. Jeg bliver da selv faktisk et gladere menneske.
So if you claim not to like Valentine's Day, the blood proves that it'll make you happier. And if you still don't like it, fair enough. Do it some other day. See a couple people tearing up. That's good, right? We have real emotions. So again, it's not about the gift. It's about the intentions, about the words, right? Having that opportunity to interact with people and tell them how important they are. So it does come back down to experiences. So this social emotional evaluation network we discovered, I've called immersion. I have to give it a word. It's a 1-second frequency neuroelectrical signal coming out of the brain. It's primarily driven by dopamine and oxytocin. Those induce activity that we can measure both at the level of the brain but also in the cranial nerves, which allows us to create a scalable solution that lets us pull data from smartwatches and fitness wearables. So all these blood draws, I've done 10,000 blood draws in the last 20 years to identify what these signals are, how to capture them, and how accurately we can use them to predict behaviors. So if we're living in the world of experiences, then we need technology that allows us to capture those experiences and tell us which of those experiences are most valuable to us in order to build our happiness. Right? If we're doing that, if we're going to be mentally healthier, then we have to make better choices. And those choices are being determined in areas of the brain that are outside of our conscious awareness. So if I could rate accurately how much I like having water on a hot day versus playing with my kids, I could do that. But the brain is not designed to reveal its unconscious emotional responses with any accuracy. Therefore, we need technology. We've done that by pulling data from smartwatches and fitness wearables, created technology that allows anybody to measure what their brain values second by second in real time. And in doing that, linking that with your calendar will give you advice on how to build a happier, more connected, and healthier life. So these are data that are very valuable to you as an individual. They're private to you, and they allow you to make better choices, but also to build community. So again, in our journey to coexistence, we have to have others around us. So in the app, you can actually build groups of friends or family members, and they won't see your data, but they'll just see if you're doing well or poorly. So I believe this is the first predictive, scalable bioassay in psychiatry that accurately predicts whether people are thriving or languishing. So we've shown that these data are very accurate at predicting people's mood and accuracy. In fact, to do so days in advance. So in the app, we have trained a large language model because it has what you value the most neurologically, and your calendar will give you prospective advice, that is advice about your day before it happens. These are things you should do that give you enough value. Here are some things you might want to avoid doing because they're not very valuable to you. So by having these data, people can make better informed decisions. And what we've shown most recently, just in the last couple of weeks, is that you need 6 of these peak immersion moments to build your emotional fitness. Right? So that's a well-defined number. It's how valuable that is to you and for how long. So height and length of that experience neurologically. When you have 6 of those, you are building that emotional fitness, you're emotionally healthy, you're able to give to others, you're able to be productive, get the satisfaction of working, of being a great partner, a great parent, and a great citizen. When you're below that threshold, when you have 3 or fewer of these experiences per day, then your emotional health is degraded. You have low energy, you have low mood, you're not engaged in life. So to thrive really means making those good decisions so that you can be as effective as possible as a human being, you can be of service to others, but at the same time you're building up your own mental health. So version 2 of this will launch October 1st. I'm going to give you a QR code for version 1. We've worked very, very hard on this. Like Adam, it took me about 20 years to figure this out. We made lots of mistakes. The basic app is free and always will be free. And I think if we're worried about the shrinking population, this epidemic of loneliness and mental health disorders, we've got to have better tools, and those tools are primarily technological tools so that we can choose those experiences that give us the chance to grow neurologically, emotionally, and physically. So really easy. The app tells you how many experiences you're having that are valuable. They have little bubbles to tell you how big those experiences are. It's a fun, gamified approach to building up your mental health. It can be used anywhere. We're device agnostic. We don't care what kind of wearable you have. We'll pull data from it. And then all kinds of magic happens in the cloud. And from your perspective, you just have an app on your phone. So if this is going to be fun, I think it's going to be great. It also connects us to others. And that's one of the things that's missing in all developed countries, including South Korea, is that we're getting increasingly isolated. So by seeing if our family members are doing well, our friends are doing well, we're incentivized to reach out and help them. That builds that connection, that strengthens that connection. So recent research out of Oxford University in the last 2 months showed that about 50% of our happiness is due to the quality of our social relationships. Great. What does quality mean? Quality is a neurologic component, right? Quality is the value I get from that experience. So organizations also use this to improve employee productivity, to ensure that the workplaces that we are in
are emotionally healthy and allow us to be productive, to be happy, and to leave work emotionally refreshed and not suffering. So we find good data that individuals who have high levels of emotional fitness at work are more satisfied with their jobs, those organizations are more profitable, and society is more sustainable. So in this journey to coexistence, we have to coexist with others. So how do you live a happier life? 5 things. Eat a healthy diet, mostly based on plants. Get sufficient sleep, 7 to 8 hours a night for most people. Engage in moderate exercise, 20 minutes a day. Walking briskly is fine. Any more than that, you're doing great. Engage with those that care about you and you care about. Have a rich social network. Have at least 6 key moments per day of high value. And identify your purpose in life and act on it. So the first 3 are easy. There's lots of apps you can use to capture those first 3. We're going to focus on the bottom 2 in the work I'm doing. What's the value of the social experiences I'm having? How do I have more of those most valuable ones? And my sense of purpose is also almost always social. Right? If I want to be the world's best rock climber, I'm not training alone. I'm training with other people. I'm helping someone. They're helping me. Right? I'm getting better at whatever task I'm doing. If I want to volunteer in my kid's school, I'm helping other people. So I'll get key moments from that, which will build up my emotional fitness. That's it. So easy, right? And guess what? When your emotional fitness is low, you don't eat as well. You don't sleep as well. You don't exercise. They're all related to each other. So think of these 5 pillars and start making better choices so you can live a happier, healthier, and longer life. If you have a camera and you can get that QR code, you can get the app for yourself. This is version 1. If you're in version 1, you'll get version 2 for free in about 2 weeks. It's in the App and Play Store. They just have to be approved. It's kind of a weird process. So with that, it's been a real pleasure to be here with you. My purpose in life is to be of service to others. I want to be of service to you. And we can start that by having some questions from our moderator, from the audience. So thank you so much for listening.
Okay.